There you go.
All right, morning all.
Morning.
Morning.
Lynn, um, do you just happen to have
Yes,
an announcement you'd like to make?
I might. So I don't know how many of you contributed. I know I didn't because I didn't even know you all were doing it. So for the hardware to hang artwork in the fellowship hall at Chapel in the Pines, so I think it's been ordered. Enough money was raised, and I think I asked Bruce Raymond, who's in charge of it, to order it. I didn't. I forgot to ask him at church yesterday the other day if he'd done it, but I imagine he has. So hopefully it doesn't take too long to get here, and then a couple of the guys will put it up.
Good.
And guess I'm in charge of deciding what's appropriate or not. So, so we'll have an end.
We're all inappropriate, so that could be a problem.
Well, no, that's not what they're worried about. So I'm talking about really inappropriate things, but
Well,
I'm
I
sure
hope that we can do an exhibit. I don't know that I would feel comfortable being the first exhibit, given that it is a church thing. I don't know how appropriate it would be to have an outside group, at least in part, do the first one. But it's a big step, and I'm glad it's happened.
I don't think it's a problem if we're the first ones. I think it's okay. I mean, we were the impetus behind it, and I think it'd be fine.
Oh, I appreciate everything you've done to be the liaison and get it.
Oh, I'm happy to do it, and we have a lot of artists in our church, and so I'm sure it'll be used by everybody. So it'll be great.
Has a date been set for it? I looking through my notes, I didn't see anything.
No,
It's open? Okay.
no, we have to get it in and then get it installed. So I don't think the installation will take that long, but I'll keep you posted. Hopefully sometime in January.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Terrific. Any other announcements? Thanks again, Lynn. Any other announcements?
Thanks to all of you who contributed. I'm not sure, it's kind of a secret, I think, but anyway, it's appreciated.
All right, tips and tricks. Our education director was the wandering education director until after midnight last night, I think, probably Bill, right? And it's a real stretch for me to do something instead, given the topic being food. And it's dangerous that I do this because I get started and I should start a stopwatch just to make sure that I don't totally lose track of time. But
well, we do have the two foodies here, Mike and Mark.
well, and anybody else that wants to contribute, that's fine. Oh, hey Tom, a couple of
Hey, all
a couple of overviews, and then some guidelines, and then maybe some photos at the end. But in terms of overviews, there is an incredible amount on food photography out there, and you kind of expected about maybe a book on composition or lighting, whatever. But there are books on food photography, and there are hundreds of links online related to food photography. And reading those is one thing, but just going to the site and looking at pictures of what others, pros, a lot of them, have taken of food is probably, I think, the best learning experience. And just watch and learn from what you see others have done. And there's a really interesting for me side topic on this, and that is all of the fake food that is the subject of photo photography. The pros use all kinds of fake food or simulated food or whatever. And just to give you a couple of examples, if you see ice cubes in a drink, they're probably plastic. You
Oh,
see
really?
you see sear marks on a steak. It may be somebody has heated up a piece of rebar and branded the steak with the hot rod. I read something this morning saying that eyeliner is frequently used on steak. Ice cream, oftentimes mashed potatoes, or alternately, seriously, I'm not making this up. Seriously, lard is used to replicate ice cream, and they'll just use food coloring to change the color of it. You know, all of this because ice melts, as does ice cream, but it's to extend or to extend the ability to shoot a given plate, and also just kind of convenient. The other thing is that most of the meat that you see in food ads is raw, again, because it doesn't last long, and they can have a longer shoot if it's fake food, which they touch up with blow torches to make it look like it's cooked. But anyway, a couple of guidelines. And I want to say that as I read through these articles, everything comes back to things we've talked about. Color, composition, depth of field, all these things are obviously appropriate to food photography. But in terms of lighting, maybe the most general universal guideline is natural light. And they talk about walking around in your home to try and get the good light through windows. But also if it's night or there's not a good spot in your house, regular home lighting is preferred, studio lighting or speed lights or whatever else. The angle of the shot is the second guideline. And I used to think that top down, just a flat image was not the right way to go, and that's I guess not the damned method after all, because in the literature there are lots and lots of examples of flat plates or food, but if it works, getting down to 45-degree angles so you see more of the tabletop maybe works. But if you are at an angle, depth of field really becomes important, because of not trying to trying to avoid having a background that interferes with what you're really shooting. And backgrounds of any kind is a concern in terms of the photograph angle or not. Composition. The wisdom is to think about the shape of the food, the size of it, and the plating of it. And in terms of plating, one of the guidelines is kind of a secondary guideline to plating is picking plates that seem to fit with the food you're shooting, picking plates that are not going to overpower the image or make it confusing to see what the image is supposed to be. And there's an old saying in restaurants: too, and Mark can speak to this as well, but presentation is everything. And so what you put
Everything.
yeah, what you put on the plate, what it looks like, is extremely important. And another sub guideline in terms of composition is KISS. Don't get it keep it simple. Don't overdo the image, trying to put too much stuff in it. But there's lots of guidance on props. Articles talk about trying to figure out what the hero of the plate is, meaning the thing that you're really trying to emphasize. But then as a side to that, using utensils, using ingredients or sauces or whatever as props is something to be mindful of as well. And one simple prop, I don't know how many plates you see that have clean, uncluttered, totally visible rims around plates or around the food. A lot of people will sprinkle pepper or something else just to adorn the edge of the plate and bring the picture out to the full size of the plate. And there's this one last thing. I guess I'm going to be okay here. One last thing is as a guideline, after you've finished staging the plate, groom it. I'm going to show you one picture, I guess, of a plate that I kind of liked, but I didn't groom it well enough, meaning I didn't clean the edge. You don't want slop on a plate that would otherwise be pretty. And let me see if I can do this. These are some pictures that you can, there's my more. Hide floating, there we go. You see that?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes.
And that powdered sugar around the edge of the beignets is something that relates to that last idea that I mentioned.
Oh,
My addiction.
potato,
Yeah, me
Potato
too.
chips.
potato chips.
Chips.
I like.
Huh.
Hey, Mike, go back to those chips.
Yeah. How did you do
Mike, can you,
that?
if I were shooting those chips, I think I might lightly sprinkle them with a little bit of paprika
Yeah.
to add a little bit of color, just very lightly.
Good idea. How did you keep the camera from making and you from leaving a shadow? If you took from above.
I don't think I've shown this one, but I made a light box that is a square cardboard box lined with white trash can liner, one speed light underneath a piece of white plexiglass, and another speed light coming down from the top. And the trick is to get those two balanced so that the background is not washed out and the top side is not overexposed. So anyway,
Yeah,
that's some homemade pastrami.
that looks good.
That looks good.
This is
Now, that looks awesome, Mike.
making me hungry.
My dining room table is glass, and that's the place I take more pictures than elsewhere. And using glass plates on top of it, it's hard to get away from reflections. But doing what you can in terms of where the camera is one part, and then cloning some of the spots out. But
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Now you talk about presentation. You've got some massive avid colors in this one.
nope,
Yeah.
a lot of color, but there's,
Nice.
yeah, and I should say that almost all of these were taken with an iPhone, and not necessarily the most recent one. And most of them were processed minimally, just using the tools on the iPhone or a little bit with Elements.
Now, if you wanted to, you could have pasted a little bit back to that picture, Mike. You could have taken your pastry brush and probably put a little bit of butter, liquid butter, on the corn and maybe even the top of the shrimps.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And one thing that I like to do, and I notice it down in the right-hand corner, bottom corner, you've got some looks like green peppers or something, but parsley always is a nice added feature to any plate.
Snow peas work.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, that's beautiful.
Making me hungry.
There you go.
Oh, now you're talking.
And we're eating at what time?
Boy, you put some effort into these.
Okay. and
Mike, did you take that?
Yeah.
Did you take that brisket in the box? Was that in your box?
No, it was just
That one right there?
on a white cutting board, and it's pork belly, burnt
Tenderloin.
ends, which is
Wow.
pork belly burnt ends. And there's
Great picture.
Mark's
Parsley.
Italian parsley.
cilantro, because that's a pepper.
Chili relleno.
Wow.
And this is the one where I was mentioned trying to clean up the plate a little bit. And in terms of what you said, Helen, these are not long process photos, and the pros use fake, and what they don't use, they probably don't eat. And I'm always taking these pictures with the idea that I'm going to eat and eat soon. So anyway,
Wow.
Sounds healthy.
Great.
now I'm going to figure out how to
Fine.
get back to my.
So you're telling us, Mike, that the whoppers in the ad might not be real?
About the what? About the what in the pictures?
The whoppers.
Oh, Bob, yeah. Whoppers.
'Cause my
Oh,
whopper never looks like that ad.
never.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
I always thought fast food was fake food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It never look
Yeah.
like Bill says, it never looks like it in your bag as it does in the. Anyway, take some pictures
Never.
of food.
Great, Mike. Great.
That was good. Really
Yeah.
good.
Thank
That was
you.
awesome.
Let's get. I got to do something different here. Just a second. Oh. No, I don't want to do that. I'm trying to get to.
My question is, why hasn't some other software company come up with something easier to use than Zoom? Everybody has trouble with it.
Well,
Everybody.
FaceTime is pretty good, but not everybody has a Mac, so.
Well,
Looks like you're on the right
all
track.
right. Well, these are just in reverse order. I don't know why that happened. Due to my inability to hear the other day, we had some that were I elected not to go through, and we're going to do those first. All right, now it's back in order. Get rid of these floating controls. Okay, the first one of these is Frank, and this was the foliage challenge.
Right. This was the meeting, I guess, on November 22nd. I couldn't attend. I was driving down to Florida at that point. So, but this is what I had submitted, and this was a scene taken right here in the village, right around the pool. There's like a slight bend there, and the colors were nice that day. And so on that picture, let's see, that was okay on the street. It was taken with a 55mm lens at 1/320th of a second, f6.3 and ISO 100. And the only thing I did was I didn't boost the saturation. I just went and worked on individual colors like the browns or the like yellows or even the greens, and just kind of brought those out a little more. But I like what attracted me to it was the bend going into the picture.
Yep.
You know, leading your eyes into the foliage at the end of it.
Well, the color's great, and like you said, the leading line of the road is a nice element too.
Yeah, it just struck me as I was walking down there one day, and I said, well, this this time of day was perfect. The lighting was perfect. I figured, well, I'm going to give this one a try. The only thing that bothered me was that little sign, but you know, I probably could have taken that out, but it doesn't distract from it too much.
And then this next one is
I don't know if it's my computer's.
Say again, Mike.
I don't know if my computer's tilted, but the only thing I would comment on the previous photo was maybe it looks like it's straightened according to the top of the sign.
Uh-huh.
I would straighten it. I would tilt it a degree or two, rotate it a degree or two to the right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to,
Oh, interesting. All
All
right.
You can see those crop lines. That kind of shows what you're talking about, Mike.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, give that a try.
But it's very little, just like a degree or
just
so.
a degree or two. There's not enough color in this, Frank.
Wow.
Yeah, this was taken up at Connecticut. I was at my son's house for Halloween, and he had a beautiful maple out there with beautiful red colors in there. So I grabbed that one while I was up there. Again, that was Halloween weekend, and that was taken 106mm at f7.1 1/400th of a second at ISO 100. And the only thing I did was I just took the red and kind of brought the red out just a tiny bit. I really didn't have to do much with it at all because that red was perfect just the way it was. And then you know, kind of give it a little bit of an accent against that blue that right through the tree.
And you use Photoshop, not Photoshop Elements, right?
Photoshop is what I use. Yeah. What I do is on it, you go just to the raw, working with the raw image, and you can boost the saturation. You can, increase the exposure through different parts throughout the picture. But again, on this, because the colors were just so perfect, I didn't do a lot to it. Kind of left it as is.
It's beautiful.
Hey, what about featuring the blue? If you were to use the red and yellow as a frame around the blue, and some of that stuff around the outside might be a little bit extraneous, but I love the blue. That's what I really like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember if I did adjust like the color curve on the blue just to pop that out a little bit. But it was.
I was thinking of zooming in and framing it a little differently.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah, I don't know. Just an idea. The colors are awesome.
It was a perfect fall day, a beautiful blue sky with and the lighting was just perfect.
Yeah, I like that, Mike, like you showed.
Yeah, probably portrait. I don't know. It looks good both ways, and it looks good the way it is. So
Yeah,
Absolutely.
good job,
but there
friend.
is a picture.
And this
There is a
first,
picture
this is
in the
the
picture
first
here.
of two from Tom.
Oh,
Wow.
Nice colors.
Hmm. Yeah, a little unusual take for, I hoped for fall colors, but they certainly are fall colors. It was a beautiful, beautiful day, clear day, and that's foxtail millet. And I shot this at f1.8 at 1/2433rd of a second.
Wow.
And that was on my Sony DSC RX100 M2 camera.
Did you?
And there was,
I'm sorry, Tom. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that it was kind of breezy. You can see it in the clouds. It was a little turbulence, but yep, there we have it. It was up in Virginia at the start party at the Stanton River State Park.
Did you crop this at all, Tom?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Is there anything left of that top left?
Well, I agonized over it, and this is what I can't remember exactly why I cut it off where I did, but also I kind of like the idea of it. Maybe not the idea of it. I don't know, motion. It feels, to not see all of it, it feels like it's in motion.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's a great shot, and I like.
But yeah, you think it begs to be there? Do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I would like to see it both ways, but I get what you're saying, and I wondered if maybe the wind hit it just as you snapped it, but put a rock on the bottom of it to hold that one to the right a little bit if it's moving around. But
Yeah,
certainly a good shot.
And I think I took a lot of other ones out. I cloned them out. Other pieces of. I think there was another species coming up in there that I cloned out.
And this one's also Tom.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, wow.
the mood in that one.
That is got an eerie mood in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a beautiful morning. It was hazy, foggy, and I have to say that with this is also an extreme crop, and I feel like I'm cheating with these things, but I used a blend mode in Affinity, and I think it was called Glow, and it was like, oh man, this feels like cheating, but it's really, I really like it.
It's got a lot.
So I used it.
It's got a lot of mood for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a morning. I kept thinking about ferries. How about ferries? All these places look like they had ferries, and
it looks like a painting.
Yeah, and another thing I thought about was that X right in front is like a barricade that you have to look around. So it has a mysterious look to it for that reason. I think you have to, makes you want to look into the background because of the impediment in the front. I don't know if other people feel the same way, or maybe that just looks like, why is that tree in the middle?
I like the angle that it presents. It just is, to me, it adds interest. But
that sort of X look.
Yeah, just that the one tree is at an angle. It helps draw my eye, I guess, across the image, I think.
Nice.
Anyway, I was happy with it.
And this last of the holdovers is key cobs. And this went back key cob to night photography, I think. And we haven't had you at a meeting for a time or two, and I know that I never sent you any notes about it, so I thought I would put it up for the day. I know we talked about it some and talked about how difficult moon photos are, because to get the right light, you have to have a longer shutter speed, and in that shutter speed time, the moon moves, and you get it out of focus a little bit. But this one, I think you told me, or the note you sent me was that it was with your electronic zoom of, what was it, 6,000 or something?
2,000.
3,000. Wow.
2,000.
Okay.
2,000.
It's great.
And no adjustment and no tripod, just handheld camera.
That's
No
amazing.
tripod. Oh, well, at that speed. Yeah, that speed.
Yeah, when you have a full moon, you really don't need a tripod.
Right.
I think there's some kind of rule like a 500 ISO and a shutter speed of 1/500th of a second, and adjust your f-stop, and you can actually do a handheld tripod.
Yeah.
Say it again, Bill, say it again. What's the rule of thumb?
I seem to remember something like you can shoot at 1/500th of a second with an ISO of about 500, and you have to adjust your f-stop to to deal with the light. But it's just used as a starting point. It all depends again on your camera and the sensor and everything.
Right.
But there's a rule out there.
What was the lens?
So this is just a single lens camera that goes from 24 millimeters to 2,000 optically. And there's a so-called moon setting that just automatically zooms to 2,000. And then I don't adjust either the f-stop or the speed or the ISO. It's just automatically set at whatever the camera feels is appropriate. In this case, it was probably about 6.4 f-stop, maybe 1/100th of a second, and ISO probably even 100 or maybe 200.
And I'm blowing it up. The smaller the moon is, the sharper it looks. And I think, Cobb, you could blow this up quite a little bit with some sharpening and still have a really nice
Sure.
Yeah.
enough detail there. All right.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we got some feedback to you folks that I messed up on.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
All right, now we're down to the new ones: textures, shapes, repetition. And this is Larry's.
Wow.
Yeah, this is my son's backyard in Durham. He had just finished. They just finished putting in the stone wall and the walkway, and I just said, "Wow, look at all the different shapes."
Yeah.
And the type of shape. I mean, not the type, like the you could feel the if you blow up the walls, you can just feel the body of it. I mean, it's just, they did a great job, the contractor. I just love that. So
yeah, if you wanted to lay down or put your camera on the concrete, a picture of just that stacked stone would be pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It's an amazing wall.
Good pick.
There it is. You could enlarge that one a lot because it's so declare is sharp.
Yep.
Good job.
This is Larry's as well.
Oh, where was this?
So there's a lot of things going on in this shot, but you notice my bridge is straight, or at least almost straight.
Almost.
Well,
I
the
think
bridge
there
was
were 12
probably
or
curving.
Yeah, I think there's like 12 or 14 bridges over the Columbia River in Portland. This is one of the bridges. Actually, there's a lot of things going on. The background of all the buildings and on the river, and the pathway leading down to a submarine. It's a part of the science center in.
Oh, I just saw that, Paul, the submarine, yeah.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. I thought it was a submarine. It just,
Yeah, it's a entrance to a submarine
Hmm.
tour, which I rather just take the picture. And then there's some boats that are tied off on the right hand side, and there's a little bit of reflection. Had a lot of stuff. I mean, so shapes and whatever.
One of the things I like, Larry, is the human in the photograph that gives it a sense of size.
right. Give you an idea how big that sub is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Did you go inside the submarine, Larry?
I didn't do the tour. No, I was with my grandchildren, and they were, I just were able to peel off, for 5 minutes, going outside and taking pictures. So
Right.
I didn't have time. They weren't interested. They're little guys. So
Yeah, and if I'd gone, I would have learned how to spell claustrophobia.
Yeah, right.
All right. Key Cobb is back.
Oh,
Ooh.
wow.
Very
Whoa,
Hmm.
that is.
So this one was taking, this past summer, we were on the Hula Hula River rafting. And the setting was f-stop 5.6, 1/100th of a second and 650 millimeters away. So, and it is cropped a little bit. And also I did some clarity slider and contrast.
No,
Was
nice,
this
nice
your-
cropping on it. You got the whole.
This must have been your
Inside.
2000 lens.
Yeah, it was that lens, but it was only at 650 millimeters, the zoom.
Well, you
Wow.
look at the edges of the wings and you can see detail even in them.
The hairs on the body of the bug.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
Where was this, Decup?
In Alaska, off the Hula
Oh.
Hula River.
Oh. Okay.
Do you know what this animal is here?
Other than a moth, no.
Okay.
Okay, here's another pitch for Flickr. Put this in the moth identification group. You'll know what
There
it
you go.
All right.
I particularly like the color.
Well, thanks. Yeah,
Different,
that's
yeah,
nice.
different from anything we see.
Yeah,
Yes.
that lichen is terrific.
And the
Mhm.
lichen, yeah, I almost did the lichen, but
Uh-huh.
I decided to stay on the moth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Excellent.
This is Key Cobb's too.
Mm.
So this was when we were doing a build in Portugal just a month or so ago, and this was the outside wall of a house on the 3rd floor. So I took a shot of that, 5.6 f-stop, 1/500th of a second, and because it was up on the 3rd floor, 1000 millimeter zoom on it.
Well, the horizontal lines are pretty darn horizontal.
They are, The vertical ones, well, it was at a slant.
Yeah, that was, I mean, that's perfectly great.
Yeah.
It kind of falls into that complementary color,
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
gives it more
Yeah.
definition by having a cool color like a blue and then a warmer color like a yellow.
Yeah.
Be
And
honest.
in Europe, you'll see a lot of buildings, older homes with the facades that look like this, have variations, different colors.
Hey, Mike, can you zoom in on that a little bit on one of those mosaic squares? Yeah.
It's tack sharp.
You know, that's really tack sharp from the distance that you shot it from. That's a nice, did you hand hold that?
Yep.
Yeah,
Handheld.
that's a nice job.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I like the camera. It has good stability,
Yeah.
even at long zooms.
And it's in focus in the close and in the far.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sharp throughout.
Mhm.
Wow.
All right.
Colors.
I'm glad you're here this
Amazing.
week.
Yeah.
Ellen,
Thanks.
Oh,
Some
that's
of
great.
you- some of you may think you've seen this picture before, but you
I
haven't.
love this one.
This one is similar to one that Betty had a year or so ago. That one's been worked on heavily because there are goats behind there, sliding down the ramp on their rumps and
Mhm.
creating havoc. But in this one, it isn't everybody watching who's going to fall off. It's that other chicken that gives it a little tension because it looks to me like she's saying, "There's no room for me."
Yeah.
But I thought there was good
Great.
deal of repetition there. And it was my first experience trying to play with flash at night.
Mm.
But getting all the goats out, I think I see a goat's eye right now. And cleaning up the poop were the two biggest challenges with
Yeah.
that. But I like that. I call those the night chickens. And I'm sorry, I can't tell you what settings I had that on.
well, I don't see any ghosts. I like the
So
shot.
they're goats over on the left and the right. And that's the Farrington chickens do that every night about 30 minutes before dusk.
Mhm.
And the goats try to do whatever they can to stop it.
That's great.
Nice.
That's a print one. And I really
love
like
to
this one
print that
too,
one.
Helen.
That is just a quick picture of one of the doors, I guess near where the sheep are, where I don't know what they store in there, one of the barns.
Okay. Mhm.
And these were both with my, I call it the big camera.
That's really interesting. It also almost looks, look at it one way, it almost looks like the corner of
Yep.
Mm.
two walls coming together.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
It bothers
Good
me
eye.
that it's not quite straight up and down, or else it's an illusion. I can't decide. I couldn't get it any straighter than that, and it may be that it's one of those illusions with your eyes, with the lines.
Optical delusions. Optical delusions.
But I could not straighten it any more than that.
I think it's straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't look it. It doesn't look it.
Yeah.
It is. So
I like the fact
it-
that vertical is in the third, not right down the middle.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
too.
yeah, I was trying for that, and that actually is color. It's not black and white. You can see the rust up at the top.
Good eye, Helen. Good eye.
Yep. Super.
Very nice.
Thank you.
And Chet.
Mm.
Oh, nice.
Mm.
Oh, that came out a little smaller. I thought anyway,
That's awesome, Chuck.
thank you. That's, I love going to the Bynum footbridge
Bynum
and,
Bridge.
and I wanted to do it at sunset and, I mistimed it. And the light was really flat. I thought, oh, I'm going to have to go back. But then in post, I've been getting a little more practice of in Photoshop elements, and I've been able to select parts of an image and adjust the light and shading and stuff. So there's a lot you can tell. I think somebody who works with software a lot can tell that it's pretty heavily enhanced, but I still like it anyway.
Mhm.
And, yeah, so I've taken a picture like this before, and I just like the repetition, of course, of the piers, and I like the etching that the water has left on
Right,
those
right.
piers, and yeah.
And Chuck, I think you just touched on one thing I think really makes this photo. You seem to be the master of flowing water. And if that water had, if the shutter speed was faster and it stopped that water, this picture would have a whole different dimension, and now I say that to mean this is just really the way it needed to be, and it's great.
Oh, and another thing that I was trying to do in my composition, I was watching a presentation about using angles instead of thirds, diagonals, and a diagonal like this, where the high angle, the high point of the angle is at the top left, and then it recedes into the bottom right. That's supposed to be, and apparently it can elicit a sense of serenity or calmness instead of like action or movement. So I did that on purpose too.
Well, and it's another way of drawing you into the frame. You
Yes,
watch that bridge disappear.
And I was so focused, on the technical aspects of setting up the shot that I didn't even think about how that bridge is kind of absurd. Like you just, I know it's a footbridge. It used to be an auto bridge now, but it just looks like kind of post-apocalyptic, where there's a bridge there, and it's just going into the woods, and it's like not going anywhere.
Right.
True.
But it was an ISO of 100, 27 millimeters. Which it's my kit lens, 18 to 55 millimeters. So I had it down pretty low to the wide angle, and it was an f/20, and it was a second. I did want the water to be blurred some, but beyond a second, it kind of didn't matter. A second will soften it up some, and anyway.
Yeah.
So
Great.
that's what I did there.
Wow.
Well, thanks.
That's quite a little hike to get down to that point, Chuck. I've been there.
Well, I took a chance. When I went in there, I knew I was really tight on time, and I was probably 15 to 20 minutes later than I wanted to be for the sun. And I figured, if I go in the first entrance there, that I know there's like almost no place to park, but I thought I remembered seeing one or two spots that I might be able to get away with. And I was lucky. I got in there quickly, parked legally. I didn't want to get a ticket, because it'd be my luck that the 10 minutes I was there, I'd get a ticket.
Hey, you don't want the Bynum police after you.
Yes. Police, yeah. And then this is an older one.
This is a knock your socks off.
I'm sorry. This is, and this one is my backyard, and this is like that chicken of the woods fungus, and it came up a couple of times. I haven't seen it lately, but this is I thought it was a good example of texture. There's a little bit of repetition in there, but it's mostly for texture, I think. And I did it at an ISO of 400. It's a 300 millimeter, which it's my 200. It's my I think it's a 55 to 55 to 200 millimeter lens. So it's with my cropped sensor, makes it a 300 millimeter rendering. So it's an f/8 and a 25th of a second. And it's a zoom in. It was from further away, and I just focused in on a part of the image.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Really
beautiful
nice.
color. What a color.
The
Yeah.
clarity was really great.
Yeah, there was the west was to my back, and this was like kind of, I think, late afternoon. And so I had some nice light on there.
Good.
This is
What,
this is really picky, Chuck, because I think it's a great photograph. I wonder what it would look like if you cropped that brighter
Just
spot
got those three. Yeah,
over on the right side.
I was seeing that as I was talking about it. I was looking at those 3 or 4 there. Yeah.
But there's
I'll
there's
go back and try that.
even with this crop, there's enough to move away from that a little bit. And if you have a wider crop,
Uh-huh.
but it's a great photo.
Oh, thanks.
That's an awesome photo.
All right. Guess who? Nope, Tom.
Oh, cool.
Once you see it,
Okay, so I call this tree walkers. I shot it at 3.5 at 125th of a second, and this is heavily worked on in post. I brought out the lumber from the background, and I turned the whole thing upside down.
Oh,
So the trunks are up in the air, and then suddenly I thought, oh, look at that! Look at those people out there strutting about. And then I duplicated it. I just a duplication thing in Affinity. I just hit duplicate and moved it over. And
Right.
I've done other ones where I've got like 6 or 8 things like that, but I thought it was funny. It looked like a couple. Sort of
yeah,
couple.
love it.
It's like the Ents. It's like the Ents from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Good.
Only you, Tom. That is excellent.
That's creative.
It was fun.
Call them the White Walkers.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny.
What was the?
I gave you the data. I think other than that, it's all post processing. And I have that thing that I do that I don't select the part that's brighter. I cover it again. I've said this before. I cover it with an infill of black, and then reduce the opacity, and then you go and you invert. And my thing is Command invert, and then you can paint over it with what is it, white or black, to bring it out, and then readjust the opacity later on. This is the thing I do a lot rather than selecting. I prefer it to selecting. I'm not sure why, but I do.
I'm
I have
thinking,
no more to say.
trying to remember the name of the movie. I think it was Guardians of the Galaxy with the guy that was the tree, the root. Anyway, can't remember.
Groot. Groot. Groot, I think.
Yeah. Tom as well.
Wow.
Yeah, this and it's against a black background there, so it's hard to see it. But okay, this is a glowworm, and Alice found it in her cold frame underground, and so I tried to keep that underground feeling of it by putting it at the bottom of the frame. And I left the top of the border off, so it looks like a hole. Anyway, it's a glowworm. It's obviously repetition thing. And she brought it up to the house, and we stuck it outside on the porch, and I shot it from above. Nothing in particular interesting about it. I think it was f1.8 at f1.8 at 40th of a second. Handheld, and it doesn't look particularly sharp, but it had a sort of a gelatinous film over it.
Well, you say this is not
So-
particularly,
Birds' heads.
you say that it's not particularly interesting, but what you did to it
No.
makes it so. I'm seeing crab claws in there.
Yeah, it's incredible insect. Wow, it's like, whoa, look at that thing. And I always thought of glowworms as being little things, but this thing was, you know, 1.5 inches long.
Wow.
And I've also got some video of it crawling around, and then eventually it hit this must be a defensive position.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can start to see that. You know, I put a little border around it so you could see it against black, but it would look better against a gray background.
Wow. Cool.
Wow, that is amazing.
Nice. Nice.
Whoa, look at that.
Mark.
That's really cool.
Okay, that's mine.
Like it, like it.
Really?
That is, I took that photo in Greece, and I took it with the iPhone 13, and it's actually the front of the hotel we were staying at, and those are all entrances to rooms. And that was about 7:30 in the morning. And when I walked by, I thought that's a really cool picture that I took, and it's got, you know, your repetition and design, and I had a lot of fun with it. And I think I took some of them in portraiture mode as well. But I just thought it fit your challenge with the design, and I really kind of liked it. So I can't tell you what the f-stop or the metadata is because it was on the iPhone. So interesting shot.
Yeah.
Well, what's
that's
that at the
really
end of it, Mark?
That's if well, there's a window there. You can see that it's part of an arch.
Yeah.
It's an archway to another set of rooms. And had I probably noticed that, I might have moved over a little bit to the left where that was, or to the right, and that might not have been in there. I don't know if it's distracting or not.
No, it's
But I didn't
cool.
notice that till really after the fact.
Hey,
Hey, Mark,
draw your eye into that, you know, right up to that that corner of a window.
Yeah.
Almost like an eye.
Yeah.
Well, it is kind of, and you can't, and each one of those hallways are just hallways to a room. It was just kind of course, everything in Greece is painted just brilliant white. And so this was early in the morning, and it came out pretty well.
And Mark,
Mark, if you want to get the info, you can just click on the info icon on the iPhone,
Yeah.
and it'll give you the ISO, the
Yeah, when I sent it to
lens
Mike,
and the
I was
time.
in a hurry. And I didn't get that done.
but yeah,
But the camera did the settings. I didn't change any settings.
It's on my screen. It's a blue eye with a star by it, and it ISO, lens length, exposure value, f-stop, shutter speed, all right there. But that's a great shot. The only thing, if I was doing it, I don't know how I feel about changing what's there, but I might have gotten rid of that dark spot up there.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Mhm.
And now that I look at it on my big screen, it's a little bit, it needs to be straightened on the right side. I could have straightened that before I sent it.
Real small thing to point out, but at the top right, that little light corner, might have darkened that.
Well, I think if I'd have straightened that whole image, that probably would have just cropped that out.
But it looks
But that's a
all
good
great
point.
to me, Mark.
It's still a fantastic shot,
Yeah,
It is.
thank you.
whatever, it's fantastic.
Mark,
Now this one, and Mike, I was looking for another one that I had taken. I'm glad you found that for me because I couldn't find it, but there was another one that I was trying to find. And for those of you that live in Pittsburgh, that is the sculpture over there by Bojangles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I took some of that at night.
Huh.
and that's fairly heavily cropped because I took the whole thing and then I moved it on that particular shot. I moved it a little bit to the left to accentuate the right side of it versus just capturing the whole sculpture. The whole sculpture with the sky behind it didn't look all that good, but when I separated it a little bit, it looked a little bit better. But that's a great place for if you folks get there early in the morning or late in the afternoon. I mean, the sun sets on the other side. It's and then Michael, I know you've taken some shots there as well, right?
Yeah, I did film, and the shot that I took was a big close up of just the center of it. I've often wondered what it's to represent, and it may be that it's labeled somewhere, but to me it looks like a
I
butterfly.
don't know. I don't know.
Looks like what, Mike?
A butterfly.
Mhm.
When you get back away from it, and there is some color in it. There are small areas that are one color or another that you can kind of, on the right hand side of Mark's photo, you can see that there are some darker bands and lighter bands. Those darker either the dark or the light are the different colors. But
Doesn't it have
it is a neat thing.
Doesn't it have a rotating color wheel on it or something like that?
There's colors on that sucker at night. It's lit up. It's really a cool thing to shoot either early in the morning or late in the evening, or night. I mean, it's if you haven't seen it at night, you need to try to drive by because it's pretty. I like to get my regular camera out there and shoot it.
Yeah, it's cool.
And where is it again located, Mark?
Michael, it's Pittsboro. Where the Bojangles is there in Pittsburgh.
When you turn to
Mosaic.
go to
Northwood
Bojangles,
High School.
down that road,
Oh, okay, up there.
is really
Taproot Restaurant.
the Mosaic.
It's
Yeah,
right across from the
Chatham
Mexican
Park.
restaurant.
Yeah,
Right across from the
Cancun.
Right.
right.
Good shots, Mark.
Great shot.
Thanks.
And this is Bob.
okay. Okay. Yeah,
nice.
I'm kind of a sucker for symmetry of some sort, and I just like the trees. I took this at a 4.3 f-stop, 1/125th of a second shutter. And I just like the picture, like the shadows.
The road is an
What
important
time of day was it? Yeah.
the road and the path both.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
repetition of the trees,
Yeah.
going down the aisleway, yeah.
Yeah.
What time of day was it?
This was getting towards evening. This was maybe 4 o'clock, I'm thinking, something like that.
Because the light is, well, it's golden hour, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
Or maybe it's just the trees, but the light is excellent.
yeah. Yeah, I liked it. It worked out okay.
One
So-
thing to always look at is what detail there is in the darkest area, and there is good detail in this one. I mean, you can see a lot of bark,
Okay.
and that's a good thing because it doesn't just fade
Okay.
away.
Good.
I really like that bright tree right next to the dark tree. If you had moved a bit to the left, you could have gotten another photograph maybe that would have shown the
Yeah,
emphasize that difference in the
that's
same,
true.
probably the same sort of tree, but one's in the light, one's in the dark.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So,
Bananas
Another
for
photograph.
Bob.
okay. I was afraid they were going to kick me out of Food Lion for having a picture. But this was another repetition shot. So, and I cropped it a little bit, f 4.3 and 1/100th of a second shutter. So just a bunch of bananas.
Cool.
A bunch of bananas.
Yep.
The colors.
And I did lighten it up a little bit in elements. It was a little bit darker.
I,
But
What
not
about
low.
crop?
What's that?
So
What about
not
cropping
low.
it a little bit more so you could get rid of that empty space up left?
I thought about that. Not, I worked with elements. They give you, when you do cropping, they give you a bunch of like 3 or 4 examples down below. And I
Huh.
played with those. And I agree. I could have cropped it a little more. I just wasn't sure what to do.
and
And I left
Bob,
it
in
up.
terms of your options for cropping, that there is that drop down menu where you can do no restriction.
Right.
Custom.
So if you can't get it with an 8x10 or 11x14 or one of the stock ones, you can use that.
Okay.
I read
And
something.
those 4 options,
It goes back a way. That
4 options
bananas
are really a
being-
starting point.
I'm sorry, I was talking over somebody.
No, I was just mentioning that those 4 options on that PS Elements is kind of like just a starting spot where you can still continue to
Oh, right.
adjust.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I thought about that area in the top left and then I didn't crop it out, and I could have tried that.
I started to say before when Bill was already talking that I've read, heard, whatever, that is it bananas or is it avocados that are just about to disappear?
Avocados.
Avocados.
Yeah.
The cartels are now fighting over them rather than drugs.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard the same thing about bananas, that
Yeah,
long term, that style or, cultivar of banana is under attack by various diseases and is not gonna be around.
right. It's
Hmm.
true.
Hmm.
It's showing up already too. You're saying, anyway, another topic.
In pricing. All right, Bill. Gee, I wonder where you took this.
Well, 2 weeks ago, I guess, when we were together and did the foliage, I had a picture of a leaf. And it kind of was such a close-up of it. It looked like you're looking down at some city. So I took this one a couple days ago out in California in the Salton Sea area. And I kind of thought like, gee, this looks a little bit like that foliage one.
Yeah, it does.
But this is how dry the California has become. I mean, you just see the dirt behind, below you and the clay and everything that just it's sucked dry. And this was just I got my foot in the bottom there.
I was going to say, is that the toe of your shoe down the?
Looks
like it, yeah.
I was wondering what that was.
You can crop that out.
Well,
You can clone it too,
I,
Bob. I mean, Bill.
Yeah.
I actually have one I think I took where I had both of my 2 feet in it purposefully.
Yeah.
But this was just, I mean, there's no editing on any of this. This was just when I transferred it over to my tablet and I just found something to send to Mike. But yeah, it's kind of amazing out there. This was the Salton Sea. If you ever look that up on YouTube or you look at for East Jesus or Slab City, you'll see some of what I saw. But it's a whole different world. I heard the word post-apocalyptic or before, I think with Chuck's picture. You should see it out there.
I would imagine it would be.
But yeah, I just downloaded 1,600 images, took about an hour. It's about a total of 165 gigabytes of files.
Wow.
I have a lot to do because, like I said, I got in after midnight last night. So,
Mm,
but I'm sure I'll probably maybe end up with about 24 good ones and check the rest.
Oh, this is cool.
Yeah, this was some of the. There's a lot of agriculture out there. You know, you have the desert, and then all of a sudden, you have maybe 30 miles of fields that goes all the way down to the Mexico border.
Hmm.
And we think this is probably broccoli that that was growing. But,
And then you have the previous photograph.
Yeah.
yeah,
Juxtaposition.
that's within. Let's see, this is that's within 20 miles of each other.
You take all that water out of the Colorado River, that's what you get.
And when there's no more in that, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was amazing to see how much agriculture is out there in the Imperial Valley. I mean, I've gone through Northern California where there's a lot of farming up there, but this is really our where a lot of our foods come from. And you know, if something doesn't happen with that drought out there, I can't imagine
How to survive.
Yeah.
And just like the image behind me right now, that was at the Sunny Bono park that they have by the Salton Sea. We got up at about 4:30 in the morning to get out there, and there's thousands of geese that sleep there at night. And as the sun comes up, you can see them start stirring around a little bit. They start quacking all over the place. And as soon as the sun comes up over the horizon, they all fly toward the sun.
Oh,
And
is that right?
it's just amazing to see that happen. They actually left in like 3 different waves. And so that's a lot of repetition behind me.
So you got your money's worth, Bill?
Yeah. And it was really incredible being probably the least experienced in the group.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it was eye-opening what some of these people do. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm glad you made it home safe.
Yep.
Lynn.
COVID free.
Oh, nice.
Lovely.
Pretty
Lovely.
nice sand.
So this is taken
Wow,
on,
that's nice.
it's taken on a beach north of Boston. I thought they were, I mean, this is the sand, and I just
Wow.
I wasn't expecting anything like this in the sand.
It looks like feathers.
It does.
It really does. Looks great.
Anyway, this was taken, it's with a 24 millimeter, 1600 ISO, f/16, 1/1000th of a second.
Mm-hmm.
And I really didn't do anything to it. I cropped a little bit out of the upper left, and that was that.
Well, I think
Also looks like delta.
Pardon?
I was saying to me, it looks like deltas, a
Yeah.
delta phenomenon.
Oh,
I like the crop, Lynn, and I think that leaving the more or less negative space on the right really boosts the composition.
that's pretty much how I took it.
Yeah.
But
Looks great.
I think that's one to put on the wall.
thank you. I'm glad you like it.
No kidding.
Wonder what it would look like as a portrait. Wow.
Now it looks like wheat. If you turn it up.
Yeah.
Right up the other. That's true. You could just turn it the other way.
Well, this next one's a good one too.
Beautiful.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this is the same beach. This was the shutter speed 640th of a second, f16, ISO 1600. It was a 30 millimeter focal length.
Great clarity throughout the whole thing, especially
Yeah.
This one looks like
water in
ice
that
and
pool.
snow.
Looks like what?
Ice and snow.
Oh, well, it
Mhm.
was really cold. There were people out there that were kite surfing. I'd
Oh,
never seen that done before.
Hmm.
It was really windy and really cold.
We must have had full wetsuits on, I suppose.
They did, yeah. I mean, but they were getting up, 20,
But
30.
it's still cold, yeah.
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 Anyway,
So how big is that rock?
I don't know, 2-3 feet across, I guess.
Oh, okay.
yeah, there's a leaf down in the pool, and that maybe helps give it.
Right.
Yeah.
The water.
There we go. Yeah.
That's another put on the wall.
Such great texture around the pool of water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
with
had
all that,
another one I took. It was
with all that white around it, there is still detail in the shadow.
Mhm.
So dynamic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well done, Mike.
Oh my goodness. I'm up now.
Mm.
Yeah, and basically, hold on, let me start my video. I've been traveling a lot, and Friday realized, or Saturday I realized, oh my goodness, there's an InFocus meeting on Tuesday. I better do something. And so yesterday I went out, and I thought what I'd do is experiment a little bit with iPhone and macro mode, and try to get some see how the textures came out. I've noticed quite a bit of I've noticed lichens on the rocks around Camden Park, and so focused on that on this one. I also apologize because I was editing this at probably around 10:30 at night, and when I was in bed, I said, "Oh no, I forgot to get these to Mike,
Yeah.
and I'd better do something." So that's why they came in so late, Mike. But so this is the iPhone, and where is that little sheet that I put everything in? But it's looks like I lost it, so I'll just call it up. So yeah, so the cropping to the left, I should have cropped a little bit, but this is ISO 80, 26 millimeter, f1.8 at, and I don't know how Apple figures this out, 1/99th of a second instead of 1/100th of a second. The light's pretty blurry, and it's not really much of a shot, but it gives me a little information on capability of the iPhone 13's macro. If you
I
go
think
to
it's
the
a good
next
shot,
one,
Mike, but I agree that maybe the crop is what's going to make the difference. I mean, that's a great
Yeah.
abstract. If you you can't really see my crop suggestion.
yeah, I saw it pretty well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the middle, the right hand side, and the top left 3/4 would be a good crop, I think.
Yeah, I'd like to play with the coloring too, like go black and white, or because the lighting yesterday, it was a cloudy day. There wasn't a lot of light. I was surprised that the ISO, that it was ISO 80. But anyway.
Hmm.
And
This
then the
one
next
mics
one
as
is
well.
a river. Yeah, now this one, it the highlighting doesn't come out as well on the screen through Zoom as it does on the phone. It almost seems a bit yeah, it's just not as sharp. But this is a river birch bark in Camden Park, and I don't like it as much on the Zoom screen, but I like it quite a bit on the phone. The lighting has a subtlety to it that kind of gets me a little bit, but and it's a bit sharper. But anyway, it's just, this was kind of experimenting with the iPhone. This was let's see, ISO 40, 26 millimeter, f1.8 and 1/99th of a second.
Wow.
It looks pretty sharp on my screen, Mike.
Yeah, it looks sharp here.
Okay, must be my 2016 Mac screen.
So what is that?
That's bark on a river birch in Camden
Wow.
Park. River birch, we got a lot of river birches in Farrington Village, and yeah, and this is pretty close up. I mean, I think I was holding the phone, maybe it was probably an inch or from the bark.
Wow.
All right.
That's it.
Well, now I've got to figure out how to get back to stop sharing.
Hey, Mike.
I did it today.
Hey, Mike,
Yeah.
is Lynn still on?
I'm
Yeah.
here.
Okay, that photograph you took of the sand at the beach, I thought that was just very impactful, just the way you noticed it was there. You know, just to see that, you know, and then to shoot it, that's very impressive. That really looked cool.
Thank you. It was just something unusual, so.
Very.
Well, I hope
No,
I hope that anybody that wants to see what we are all about gets to look at this meeting. I keep saying it, but it's just not going to have just one picture from which to choose if we get an exhibit at the church. They all have many of them at this point. So, any closing announcements?
Well, what I'd probably like to tell people is that if you ever get an opportunity to go on a workshop, you know, multi-day one, I mean, I was really shocked how much I enjoyed it. Yeah, you're within camaraderie of 7 other people who love photography. You end up getting up at 4 o'clock almost every morning to get out and do sunrises, or like with the geese behind me, you're out at night. It's it kind of forces you out of your comfort zone, and it makes you more comfortable. And it shows the value of having patience, you know, and of finding the interesting spots, like the picture that Lynn had there. Yeah, we did a lot of looking for those kind of things. You know, that was kind of an emphasis of it. It really helps open up your mind. I mean, I learned a lot. And
Awesome, Bill. Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, can I do a commercial? Can I do a commercial?
Sure, go ahead.
Non-photographic. We are at Chapel in the Pines. We are the drop-off donation point and collecting what we call our winter survival drive. It's for jackets, coats, hats, blankets, wool socks, sleeping bags. Some of you from Farrington may have seen a a shout out on this. Others in Briar Chapel may have seen a shout out, but we're collecting each Wednesday through December from 9:30 in the morning till 12. Any outerwear that's gently used or new to donate to the homeless, as well as to the folks that are in need. We picked up, the second load was picked up from the church yesterday and taken to Siler City, where the first load has already been distributed to people in need. So if you folks and or any of your friends that you may have an email list for want to donate outerwear for this winter survival drive, we're right there at Chapel in the Pines on Wednesdays from 9:30 to 12.
Okay.
Adults or children?
Both
Both.
women, men. I won't give you all the numbers, but we've already collected over 200 men's and women's coats and 25 sleeping bags and hats and wool socks. And it's been a tremendous outpouring. So the more we can get the word out to your subgroups, that type of thing would be terrific. And thanks for giving me a couple of minutes for the commercial.
Sure. Let me add one other thing. At Chatham Mills on 15501, where the Chatham Marketplace is, there is a K through 12 kids art exhibit that the Chatham Artists Guild is helping with, and it's up in the hallway that runs down to where the Sycamore Restaurant is. That whole hallway and some side hallways, and it's just some of what the kids have done is just really, really cool, and it's a nice exhibit to which you should visit. And the other thing is that out at the plant, the Artists Guild has an exhibit in the Smelt Gallery, but you need to put in parentheses the word gallery. It's a hallway outside the brewery, but
It's a beer hall.
it's there is artwork from, I don't know, Mike, how many members of the gallery? 68, and I think everybody has got something there.
Yeah, something like that.
Each member could put one thing in, but there's jewelry, there's woodworking, there's ceramics, there's fabric. I mean, and it's just it's a mixed bag, just like the guild is a mixed bag. So, and it's open pretty much when the brewery is open. So,
This is the show for the tour, it shows the people who were on the tour, is it?
yeah, it's
all the members.
It's not the tour, but it's and it's more than just who's on the tour. Anybody that, and I don't know how many are not on the tour, half a dozen or so, a dozen maybe, but everybody, even if they're not on tour, could put in one thing. So, and the tour is this coming Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 5,
tour,
I think, on Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sunday. So it doesn't cost.
There are 5 photographers, I've noticed.
Yeah.
The studio tour participants show was last month. It's closed. It was at the Art Center in Carborough, and that came down right before Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
All right, meeting in 2 weeks at the church. It's the 20th, I think. My mind, yeah, the 20th, and don't know how many will be gone for the holiday, but we'll be meeting in person regardless. So Thanks for a really great meeting.
Well, if
Joel.
anybody wants to drop off anything at your meeting, you're welcome to, and it'll get over to the right room, that's for sure.
Okay. Good.
Okay. All right.
So,
Hey, Mike, I have a Zoom question. It probably wouldn't be interesting to anybody but me, but I'd like to know the numbers. I have to watch this on my phone. What are the numbers for the meeting? The ID number and the password number.
Okay,
I
I'll
got
send
the
it.
link, but
Yeah, I'll send that to you.
okay,
Um,
okay, cool. Thanks.
And for
Sorry
all
to-
of you that are not feeling well, I hope you recover quickly.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
take care, y'all.
Thanks, Alan.
All right.
Bye.
You-
Take